So what's the deal with storage devices? Like, how do they even work? Your phone dies, you yank out a USB, and somehow all of your precious memes and cat videos are just still there. Like magic much? And can we talk about how we went from storage devices in the 50s that were the size of a baby elephant, weighing over a ton, to microSD cards that are now so small you could accidentally eat one? I mean, you could store the entire internet on something you could easily lose in a bag of Doritos. Okay, I lied about that. You can't. Not literally the entire internet, but you get the point. Today, I unravel how storage works, why we can cram so much into something so tiny, and why scientists are out here trying to use DNA to back up your playlists. Yeah, you heard me. Soon your data might be stored in your genes. Thank me later for the epic content. Let's rewind to the 1950s. Back then, the first commercial hard drive, the IBM 305 RAMAC, was a fridge-sized monstrosity that weighed over a ton and could store a whopping 5 megabytes. That was sarcasm. To put that into perspective, that's about enough space to store a single photo of your dog, if you really compressed it. Moving it around was more complicated than assembling IKEA furniture, and it was loud enough to let the whole building know when you were saving a file. Now, fast forward to today, and we've got microSD cards the size of a fingernail holding 1 terabyte of data, enough to store hundreds of thousands of high-quality photos, movies, and more. The crazy part? This leap in storage tech happened in just about 70 years. So how do we go from room-sized behemoths to teeny tiny chips that can fit your entire music library? It's all thanks to Moore's Law. In 1965, this is starting to sound like a history lesson. Anyways, Gordon Moore, the co-founder of Intel, predicted in 1965 that the number of transistors on a chip would double every 2 years, which would make computers more powerful and, crucially, smaller. This phenomenon is called Moore's Law, and it's the reason we've been able to shrink storage tech while packing in more data. Imagine if your closet kept getting smaller, but somehow you could fit twice the amount of clothes in it every year, without using a magic vacuum bag. These transistors, which are basically tiny switches that store data as zeros and ones, have gone from being 10,000 nanometers wide in the 1970s to just 5 nanometers today. For those that aren't math wizards, a nanometer is 1/1000th of a meter. That's smaller than a single strand of DNA. The smaller the transistor, the more of them we can fit onto a chip, which means more data can be stored in a smaller space. Simple, really. Okay, so your phone dies or you unplug a USB. How does your data not just disappear? This magic is thanks to non-volatile storage. Most of the storage you use today, whether it's your SSD, flash drive, or microSD card, is made with flash memory, specifically NAND flash. Unlike volatile memory like RAM, which loses everything the second the power cuts off, non-volatile memory can retain data even without power. Here's how it works. NAND flash memory stores data using electrical charges. Gee, now the science lesson starts. Bear with me. Each tiny cell in the flash memory chip can trap electrons in what's called a floating gate. These trapped electrons represent the zeros and ones of your data. And the cool part? Once the electrons are trapped, they stay there, even if the device is turned off or unplugged, keeping your data safe and sound. So if your phone dies in the middle of a Candy Crush binge, you don't lose all your progress. The data's still there, patiently waiting for you to power up again. Flash memory isn't just about retaining data, it's also about efficiency and speed. Inside your SSD or microSD card, NAND flash is arranged in layers like a Hong Kong high-rise building for your data. This is called 3D NAND. By stacking memory cells vertically, we can pack even more data into a smaller space. It's like cramming more people into an apartment building instead of spreading them out over a whole city block. The result? Tons of data in a teeny tiny package that fits into your phone or camera. This stacking trick is how we've managed to go from a few gigabytes of storage to terabytes without making our devices look like they came from the Stone Age. And the best part? It's lightning fast. So no more waiting forever for files to transfer. You can shoot a 4K video on your phone and save it instantly without breaking a sweat. But wait, it gets even crazier. Just when you think we've reached peak storage technology, scientists are already working on something even more mind-blowing. DNA storage. That's right, the same stuff that makes you could one day hold your music library, photos, and maybe even your awkward middle school videos. DNA is the ultimate storage medium. Why? Because it's incredibly dense. 1 gram of DNA can hold 200 petabytes of data. That's 200 million gigabytes in something smaller than a grain of rice. You could fit the entire Netflix library and still have room for all of YouTube's cat videos. Scientists have already begun encoding data into DNA molecules, turning the 4 chemical bases, A, T, C, and G, into a new kind of digital storage code. Who knows, maybe one day your entire digital life will be stored in your own genes. So what's the takeaway from all this? Well, a few things. Firstly, you liked this video, you've subscribed to our channel, and you now know a little bit more about storage. Yes, storage devices have gone from room-sized dinosaurs to tiny chips that can hold more data than anyone from the 1950s could ever imagine. It's all thanks to advances in transistor technology, flash memory, and innovations like 3D NAND that let us pack more data into smaller and smaller spaces. And with DNA storage on the horizon, we're not just cramming more into less space, we're rewriting the rules of how storage works altogether. Pretty soon, you might not need a hard drive or an SD card at all. Your next big data storage upgrade could be sitting in a petri dish, or inside your very own DNA.